Well, hello, you crazy kids. I was going to say good morning, but it might not be morning where you are. It might be afternoon, might be evening. I feel like the Truman Show, right? What does he say? Good morning, good evening, and good night. Is that what that was from the Truman Show? How are you today? Yes, it is an early session today. I'll tell you why. As you can see, I am again building from my not having to wear a collar, and I actually went for a long walk last night, like a few miles, which was kind of amazing. It's really amazing. It's my 2-week anniversary from having my surgery. Feel pretty great. And here's the thing. I wanted to do my show, but I do need to take painkillers. And they send me a little bit bonkers, right? They do. They send me a little bit forgetful, and I'm like, I don't want to be forgetful for my people. I got the best people. Some people say the best fans, the best supporters, possibly the best in the world. Oh, Juanco the Sane, look, oh, good grief. Are you serious? Juanco the Sane comes in with 50 Matthew Marsden channel memberships. Juanco the Awesome, okay, shall I go? I can't go through all those, but I'm going to thank every single person. I'm going to ask every single person to go over and thank the most awesome Juanco, the most awesome king of awesomeness. And you get a sparkly line, Juanco. You are amazing. Thank you. We've missed you. See, this is a point. This is awesome. And I'm going to tell you why this is awesome. Because we just started like this. Because I've been making a point, as you guys know, about what needs to happen for things to change in Hollywood. Now, I'm going to wait a little while to get more people on this thread because I'm going to talk to you guys. Again, I want to thank Juanco. Please go over and thank Juanco. Even if you didn't get a membership from Juanco, go and thank Juanco. Thank Juanco. Juanco the Awesome. So that was bad. That wasn't good. I'm still recuperating. Come on now. So, and as Mike D always says, please re-up your membership. All right, let's wait until we get a few more people on board before I start talking about this. Because here's the thing. Unlike many people on the internet who do very well, and they're great, talking about things Hollywood-wise, they haven't done it. They haven't been there, and they don't understand the process. They haven't been in the room to see the process. Now, a lot of those guys I love, well, many of them I love, and I think they're kind of amazing with what they do, considering they haven't been on the inside of it, because they're absolutely right. But I am talking about things that I know about firsthand, all right? So I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute when we get some more people on board, because I now know what to expect. Right? I know how many people to expect that's going to come on and hear this. It's very important. It's very important. Heather, I can't do it, darling. I've already said, because I told you my kids' friends watch the show, so I can't swear anymore. I can't do it. So I want to thank all the people that my kids go to school with for making me a better man. I'm just saying. And I've resisted it for a long time, but now I can't do it. Do it for the children. Do it for the children. That's all I'm saying. So, by the way, for my long-term and long-time supporters, I finally got merch. I should do that. I finally got merch. And yeah, Alex, woohoo! I've finally got merch, and I'm going to show you some of the, well, I'm going to show you one of the merch, right? And I think it's pretty darn cool. So I'm going to put that out there so you can support the channel by buying stuff, and stuff that's pretty cool, right? I think it's pretty cool. But you know, like right now, I'm not a big enough channel for people to go, yeah, I'm going to have something with the Matthew Marsden show on it. But do you want to see it? If you say yes, I'll put it up, I'll show it you, and then I'll show it you later on, right? But if you want to see it, I'll put it up. I've got some stuff with Archer on it. You guys wanted it, you know. I know you love Archer the Wonder Dog, right? So I've got some stuff with Archer on, and people will be like, why have you got Archer on there? By the way, he can't come in here. He tried to jump up me the other day, and I'm like, that would be bad for my neck. Thanks, Texas Laurie D. Yep, Adam, you have been a long-time supporter, and I'm telling you, you guys are helping build the alternative, which is what I'm talking about. All right, you ready? I'm going to show you part of the merch. Now, I think it's pretty cool. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, your water bottle. Look at that. Look at that. Tell me that is not badass. Matthew merch, Marsden merch. What do you think? I think that's pretty badass. I think that's pretty badass. Now, until this like launches and I can't like get it to I've tried to make it as cheap as possible so we could get it out there. But I think that's pretty cool. And look, I'm very much like, this wearing a shirt like this is pretty like flamboyant for me to wear a pink shirt, because I'm always like, if you've noticed, I like wearing like the grays and the blues and all that. But I think that's pretty badass. So I'm going to get the store up soon. I've got that logo on cups. I've got that logo on a t-shirt. And by the way, what I can do is give like different colored tips for the M, which is pretty cool. But I'm very much like on the down low. So I'm like, you could have that and nobody really knows. Like, if you know, you know, right? If you know, you know, and it's pretty cool, because I'm very much like, I like things to be understated, right? So I like that. Tell me, do you like it? I think it's pretty cool. And so I'm going to do some more. Would you want to cut with not all actors are like this? I promise. I mean, does that mean anything to you guys? I mean, I know I say it, but it's not really a catchphrase like that's universally. I was thinking like, not all dads are like this, I promise. And because it can mean another thing, right? Like, we're really awesome and not all people are like this. So, no, Crazy Cook. What's happening right now is that so basically what they do with this incision is they cut and then they stitch on the inside and glue this together. So it's all knobbly, like kind of weird. So anyways, it's not swollen. I mean, listen, I am still like struggling to swallow, but as you can see, my neck's moving pretty good. I mean, I can't like fully move it yet, or I've got to be careful, and I've got to go and get an X-ray to have a look at it. But yeah, all right, we're getting up there with people because this is not our normal time. So I do want to get this message to as many people as possible. So I'm going to wait a little bit, but let's talk about. Just a little bit until we get the numbers up. We'll talk about this first. The jihadist yesterday in the UK. Now, I don't know, but you guys have heard a former Brit who is now American talking about the problems that are going on there. And somebody said that this wouldn't be the last time. I wonder who that was. Now, yes, it's common sense, but common sense these days is not that common. And so we knew that there was going to be another attack. We knew that. Now, this is the point about emboldening these Palestinian protesters, right? Because let's face it, if you are these people, it's not that they're pro-Palestine, it's that they're anti-Jew, right? That's just a fact. It's a fact. And I could go on and on. I'm not going to get into it right now about how we tackle Islam. I'm not going to go into that. I could absolutely debate anybody on Islam, right? Because after 9/11, I studied it. Because again, I don't want to be an uninformed person talking about a religion. And I think it's very, very important to differentiate the good Muslims, which there are millions and millions of them, and the jihadists. And a further delineation is what the Quran teaches. Okay? And I studied it because I was like, hang on a minute. There are great Muslims Muslims were killed on 9/11, right? There are great Muslims that are condemning it. And then there are Muslims that are like supporting it and cheering it. And when you're supporting and cheering your own people getting killed, right? Because it's an indiscriminate attack. There's a major problem. And again, I'm going to segue this with saying, I think that the way the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia runs their business is great. They're like, we're a Muslim country. We don't want any other religions in there. So that's it. Fine. I've said it over and over. I wish we would say that, right? I wish we would say, this is a Christian country and we're not having any of the other silliness in here, right? And I know it's a freedom and freedom of expression, all that, but you know, we have, or should I say, you know, Judeo-Christian values, right? And I think that if we did that, things would go a lot better, if I'm honest. Anyways, there is an issue with Islam. There's a massive issue with Islam. And it's not, you can't look and say, oh, well, it's the same with Christianity. It's just absolutely not true. It's absolutely not true. There is not a Christian out there that would say, cheer and say, a true Christian that would say, oh, you know, going out and killing someone in the name of Christ is a good thing. Murdering someone in the name of Christ is a good thing. That is justified. No. Christ did Christ did the opposite, right? Christ died for our sins, right? So he is the model to follow. Look at this, Gator Fanatic just upgraded the membership. He's like, no, it's not enough. I am going higher. Yeah, Nick, I saw that people cheering 9/11, and I have a big problem with anyone cheering mass death, right? I know that all of us, let's just say the Christians in Nigeria were like, okay, we're going to go and kill a bunch of Muslims. We'd all say, whoa, 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 whoa. No. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. And this is a problem. I Heather said, I'll buy the t-shirt with dog's pictures on that says the Matthew Marsden Show. Would you buy one that says Archer the Wonder Dog? And on the front, it has like an M. And on the back, it says Archer the Wonder Dog. Would you buy that one? Let me know. Because this is the thing. I mean, look, I've told you guys before, I'm very reluctant to do that. It feels like shilling to me a little bit, but I do understand that this is the environment they're in right now, that we have to do that. Lily of the Mountain. What a beautiful name. I love that. All right. I'm going to get the merch up. I'm going to get it up. Don't make some kind of crass comment about that, what I just said. Don't do it. All right. Well, I'll do it. All right. I'm going to do that, and I'll put the merch store up. It's a little bit rough, right? But if you guys want it, I'll put it up. Okay. All right. I'm going to break it down now about why boycotting Netflix isn't going to really change anything. Okay. So you got to remember that Netflix is taking in about $350 million a month. Maybe more. $350 million a month. So let's say you get rid of 10% of that. Okay. It's not really making that much of a difference. It will hit them. But what will happen, like it happened last time, is they'll just up the price. And people will take it. So what you're doing is you're not really changing anything. Now, does that mean that we shouldn't boycott them? No, we should boycott them. And I just said to my wife, actually, I just said, hey, Nad, like, I want us to boycott Netflix. And she was like, that's the only thing that the kids watch. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And by the way, when I'm talking about that, it's bloody Paw Patrol, you know, and we're talking about the little babies, right? Like the little ones. And we're like hawks, right? We never put the kids in front of it. But my point is, let me explain to you, if you don't know, how these projects are made. Because very, very important. Okay? So, let's just say you're Netflix or Disney. And you say, you know what, I want to make a series. It's not so much Disney because they use existing IP, right? Let's say Netflix and Amazon. They'll say, all right, we want to make a project. Like I got asked the other day because I wrote a script and it got to one of the big production companies and they loved it, but they said, no, it's a bit difficult to make and it's not really in our wheelhouse, but pitch us something else and we'd love you to write for us. Now, again, I don't tell many people this, right? But that's the conversation that happened. I have the text, I have, so anyways, and they want military stuff because actually this production company is actually conservative. It's one of the very few. But they would never come out and say it. But I know they are. So what Netflix will do, or whatever streaming service, is they'll say, okay, like I want a show about climate change. And they put that out there. And then all the agents, right, all the agencies around. So remember this, right? Remember the filter process. The agents will get it and they'll go to their writers who haven't been directly contacted by the studio, who already has a relationship with them. They'll say, hey, listen, this is what they're looking for. Can you write something? All right. So they go out and they write it and then they submit it. If they get chosen, then they make the series, right? So think that's the streaming services paying for someone to go and write something eventually, like they'll pitch and whatever. Or they'll go to an existing showrunner. Now, showrunners are the people that create these shows. And if you're thinking about showrunners and how powerful they are, like J.J. Abrams was a showrunner, right? Like these are very, very powerful people. And they do what it says. They run the show from top to bottom. So they'll go to somebody who's a showrunner who they're already working with. Well, let me just see, if they're already working with them, what are the chances that they're liberal? Very high. Remember that. Because when I keep going on about canceling in Hollywood and nobody gives a shit, this is why it's important. Because you don't have anyone fighting for you in there. Or even fighting for normalcy, or even saying no to the craziness that they're bringing. Put a pin in that and remember it. So you go to they'll go to the showrunner and they'll say, okay, hey, listen, you did this show for me. Will you do this show for me? And they go, yeah. And let me tell you something. Some of those showrunners are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars. I could give you a couple examples of them, but I won't, right? But they're all agenda driven. All right? I say not all, but the ones I could give you are agenda driven. So guess what? If you've got a leftist activist that's doing one show and you go to them to do another show, what are you getting? They're going to them because they like what they've done and they want to do more. All right? So they greenlight that. They go, okay, you're running the show. So what does that showrunner do? He has to get a producer. He has to get director. He has to go and get the actors. And normally he'll get a writer's room, right? So think of all those elements, right? That's a lot of people to go to say yes to it. And then the writers normally will write the screenplay. Then they'll send it to the producer or the showrunner. A lot of the times the showrunners write their own shows, right? But that's not always the case. They write their own shows or they give it to a writer's room and they'll do the first episode and then the writers will come in and do all the others. Because they still get paid a ton of money anyway because they're running the show, right? So then what happens is that goes up the flagpole. Right? So it goes to the producer looks at the screenplay and they'll go, okay, that's good. And then it's sent up a lot of the times to the next person above. Now, if you're doing that on a network television show, so you've got the network and you've got the studio. So you can work for, say, Warner Brothers on a television show and that television show will be sold to Universal. Or the other way around, like you can do something on Disney not really Disney, but because they do them, but you can do something on ABC that will be sold to Warner Brothers. That's why I think Friends is, I might be wrong, but Friends is like is Warner Brothers for NBC. It took me some time to get my head around that, because I was like, hang on a minute, if you're with the BBC, you make a show and it's on BBC. It doesn't work like that over here. It's very different. All right? So I'm going to do some housekeeping in a minute and go to Super Chats. So remember that. So if you are, let's say you're writing on one of the networks and you've been hired to write on one of the networks, and you create something that has to go to the producers, and then it passes the producer, then it goes up to the studio, and then it goes past the studio, and then it goes to the network, and then it gets greenlit by the network. So you have multiple different levels of people that it has to go through. Now, the different thing on a television show, on a network show, is that they're work for hire, right? They just come in and direct the episode. They don't really have any input on how it's the content of it, right? They're brought in as a hired hand. They're greenlit by the studios. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. They're greenlit to come in and direct, and then that, then they just come in and do that, and they don't have any input on the content. It's just the way it's made, if you know what I'm saying. All right, so that's one way. The other way is if Matt has an idea, I create the show, and then I go sell it. So what happens then? I'm a showrunner, right, that has existing work with these different, because that gives you credibility, which again, this is why getting cancelled is so insidious, right? So imagine they're cancelling all these conservatives. So guess what? They don't have any conservatives going and pitching them anything. This is why cancelling Netflix is not enough. And this is what I've been trying to tell you guys about for years now, on X and on the YouTube show. It's not enough. And I hope the people are like, I'm not following you because you've got, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but they don't understand this. They don't understand why it's so important. So I go around and I'll go to, let's say I go to Disney. Now I've got to pitch the show to them. Then they've got to say yay or nay. So let's just say I go to one of the streaming services and I'll go, listen, I've got a great movie. It's about a Medal of Honor recipient. And they go, no, we don't want to do that. We're not doing that right now. Because that little bit of budget that would have gone to that movie can go to one of the other movies that has their agenda. And these streaming services are desperate for content. All right? So, and by the way, you have a subscription. You don't go on there. You don't go on there and check everything that's on Netflix, right? You just pay the subscription and it rolls over. It's not like you're paying for specific stuff. Even if you're looking at the old model, right, which was the networks, you'd have ads that would come in that would pay for the shows. And by the way, whatever happened to Jimmy Kimmel, right? Nobody gives a shit. It's a week away. It's 2 weeks since that was real news, and nobody cares, right? They've moved on. Nobody cares. This is the problem. It's unsustainable. I'm going to go out to Honesty and Truth right now. Evil has arrived in a communist face. UK is fighting against UK is fighting against it, as are many countries. Never give in. Freedom is everything for a happy and healthy life. Honesty and Truth has been absolutely in the zone on these super chats for the last month. Like, just absolutely brilliant comments. All right, I'm going to tell you something that happened to me. All right, and I've never shared this. So when I did I Am That Man. I directed that movie for hardly any money, and it went out and it's got 5.4 million views on YouTube alone. So that is a massive movie, right? As things go. To get 5.4, imagine if I'd got $10 per view. Imagine how that just changes the landscape, right? Of how I can reinvest and make more stuff, right? Imagine if I had that, but it went out on, on YouTube, and you get money from it. You do, but I want to explain to you what we're dealing with. So, I Am That Man. I had someone from a major company say to me, I would love you to come into our director's program. Okay? Now, what is a director's program? It's what I just spoke about. If you're on any of the network television shows that have been going on for years and years and years, they have revolving directors. So, for example, if you're on CSI, as I did, I'll have a director, and he's doing pre-production, right, getting everything right for the show, right, because they're shot every week, right? So, and it depends. Sometimes it's, it can be a month for each episode or whatever, or 2 weeks for each episode they do it. But my point is, they do prep. So when that one episode, the episode before it ends, they come on and start shooting the next week, okay? And then when they stop, another director comes in. And there was the director from you got the first episode, your second episode, and your third episode, right? So the director of the first episode has done his pre-production, he starts shooting. Let's just say, for shits and giggles, it's 1 week. So he shoots for 1 week, then he goes into post-production. As he's going into post-production, the other director of episode number 2 has already done his week pre-production, and he starts shooting as the first one ends. All right? Now, episode number 3, when number 2 is filming, number 3 is prepping. Right? So at all time, you've got someone in pre-production, shooting, and post-production. You get it? So what will happen is they'll rotate those directors. And there are stock of directors, that have been approved by the studio. Like, I was approved by the studio as an actor, which is a big deal, which means I don't have to jump through any hoops to get on camera, like some additional hoops. They've said, yeah, Matt's all right. He's done it. We know. Okay? So you see how that works. So they have a pool of directors there that they call on, and that director, like one director might do in 22 episodes in a season, he might do, 6 episodes. If they're a new one, they come in and they might do 2 episodes, and then they'll go, okay, next season, we loved what you did in that episode. It's a real success, so we'll bring you in. But to do that, there is a process. So you have to go, you have to apply. You can look online, go look it up. Director's program at CBS, ABC, all these different, they all have them. NBC, Warner Brothers, they all have them. So then what they do, you have to show that you can do something. Or show that you're a competent director. Well, I've done that. And this executive at one of the major studios said, I would love to have you come in and direct one of my TV shows. And I was like, great. And so what you do in that program is you go and you shadow a director, right? Like you follow a director through the process, which is what we don't do as conservatives. We're not mentoring anybody. And I am the last generation, Gen X is the last generation to get into the movie industry without all the woke bullshit. We're the last generation. Nobody after me has gone in without having to deal with so much woke BS. All right? So you shadow the director, And then they'll say, okay, well, we're going to give you your own show. And the same thing happens with writers. They'll say you can be in a writer's room and then eventually you'll get to be promoted to be a showrunner. She told me that they would not accept me into the director's program. And she said, it's not because, this is honestly, guys, I'm telling you the truth. And this is some of the stuff that you don't understand that I've had to deal with. Imagine being eminently qualified to do it, for someone to say, we love what you do. I'm going to give you a couple of other instances. But then to say, you'll never get through the process. She said, because you are not a black female. Because then the DEI initiatives that are in these companies, that's all they were hiring. Now, I'm going to tell you, as I told you before with the other instances where they brought people in who were not qualified to do it, but hired them on their immutable characteristics, is that they were setting people up to fail. Not everyone is Ryan Coogler. By the way, not every Jew is Steven Spielberg, and not every, atheist or Christian guy is Ridley Scott. The way you look and your religion has nothing to do with whether or not you're good at something. I mean, I feel like an idiot having to state that, right? Because, the left will go off on, listen, Catherine Bigelow, nobody said, hey, listen, you're a woman, so you need to be promoted. She's just a fantastic filmmaker. Same with Nancy Myers, fantastic filmmaker. I could go on. Now, have there been historically barriers to entry for women? Yes. Have there been barriers to entry for people of color? Yes. But you give the opportunity, right? You give people the opportunity. That's it. You don't force it. You don't force it by going, this is just bad. And if someone comes in and goes for that job and they're bad, what do you do? Well, why don't you set up some kind of an academy to make them better, or audition them to see if they're better? If you can, if they can, the best people get through. We've said this about DEI across the board. We know, and this is all the leftists going on about Pete Hegseth going, how dare he talk about women, and how dare he's cancelling women. No, all he's saying is there is a standard to get in. That's it. If you're a woman and you meet the standard, fine. But we all know that certainly physically, women are not capable of doing the things that men are doing. And again, the left will go, well, you showing that Ronda Rousey would kick your ass. Put in the extremes. And let me tell you this, if as a man, you're in the woman with the greatest MMA fighter of all time and you land one on her, it's over. So it doesn't matter. You could put a big fat guy in the ring with someone that has no skill at all and he lands a blow on a woman and it's all over. So it's a false equivalency, right? It's very silly. It's very, very silly. So you got to remember, right? So you got to remember that how this DEI and how cancelling conservatives affects the overall ecosystem of making films and television. So she said to me, you are good enough, the movie's great, but you will never get through. And she was frustrated because she's a woman, it was a woman, she's someone that all she cares about is, are you good at your job? That is all she cares about. If you're black and a dude and you're good at your job, great. If you're a black gay dude, if you're a black lesbian, it doesn't matter. Are you good at your job? It doesn't matter. But we are changing that. And it's been changed. So now, after 10 years of this happening, you have a bunch of people at the top that are incompetent and they are only ideologically oriented. I'll tell you this. Who thinks that it is a good idea? Just purely on a business level, right? You're sitting there, you're in a company, and you're like, you know what? I've got this IP that's been around for years, like strawberry shortcake or whatever. And you go, you know what? I think, you know what a great idea would be is to have a trans character in it. Here's the problem. There's nobody in that room that's saying, hey guys, that's a terrible idea. Now, there could be a conservative in the room, but do you know what happens to that conservative if he stands up and says, that's a terrible idea? See ya, you're gone. And are they going to go to the Matthew Marsden channel that can pay them a living wage to do what they do? No, we don't have it. We don't have an alternative. So they either shut up because they're like, you know what? I'm going to stay here because at least I'm going to try and affect some change. And my point is this. If you are looking at what I've done in my career, if you are in Hollywood and you are a conservative, this is what we don't understand. Like, people do not understand this. If you are in the room and you're making a couple of $100,000 or even more a year, why would you give that up? Especially when you've got people that come on social media and go, I'm not doing that because I'm boycotting YouTube. Great. No, what you're doing is boycotting me. I had a guy, if you go and have a look on X, I had a guy that says, oh, you know, you just want people to follow you just because. No, I want people to understand that when you have someone that stands up for what is right and you do not support them, that has a cooling effect. You are less likely to get more people to stand up and go against the grain. My movies made $1.4 billion at the box office. Now, you might say, all right, you weren't the lead in them, you weren't this. Okay, but I was in the fight. I was there. I was at the top. I have been the lead in movies. Guess what? I'm not the lead in movies anymore. And do you know what that does? If as I've explained before on this channel, if every actor has a dollar amount attached to them of how much money they can be paid versus how much money they bring in. For years, Matt Damon was the number one guy with that. Like, you got the most bang for your buck out of Matt Damon because they paid him, still paid him well, but his movies made a ton of money. The value that I have right now is this. I was on the studio list at one point. I could greenlight movies. And this is where what people do not understand. If I want to go and make a movie right now, and I go to Netflix and I go, I want to make a movie that's about a Medal of Honor recipient. You know, I've got all these people that can be in it. It's going to be great. They go, I don't give a shit. Get Matt Damon attached. Now, name me 5 conservative actors that are A-listers. And I'll tell you 2 that you're going to say right now. Is Chris Pratt and Mark Wahlberg. Can you tell me anyone that's younger than 40 years old? So the problem is, if I'm a leftist actor and I'm in a Marvel movie, I can get any movie I want greenlit. Do you understand? I can get any movie I want greenlit because I have a dollar amount attached to my name. And so this is why you are getting zero conservative content, and why you're getting people who have an agenda pushing the trans ideology and all this other negativity, and then people just go, well, let's cancel it. It doesn't matter. That Strawberry Shortcake episode is there forever. It's not been deleted. It's been there forever. So eventually, it might not be you, it might not be your daughters or your sons, but your grandchildren will be like looking through Netflix because this controversy would have blown over, and they'll come across the trans Strawberry Shortcake episode. It's not deleting it, and it's not making it so that it was never made. Do you understand? This is what our side doesn't get. And part of the issue is when you look at these guys, like this guy's like, oh, so the free market system. How is it a free market system if I want to make something that's conservative, I can't get through the gatekeepers? If you are so naive to think that Hollywood works on a merit system, you are out of your mind. It does not work on a merit system at all. You saw with Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom was on the shelf for 5 years. 5 years. If there was no studio to put it out, you would never have seen that movie. Is that the free market? Hang on a minute, it's the free market because... But no, it's not the free market because they didn't put it out because to them, they'll pay the money for the movie and they'll shelve it. This is what you don't understand. This is what we're playing with. You have studios that will make a movie that makes $1 billion and then they will throw away their money into agenda-driven films because it's part of an accounting thing. They know they're going to make a loss. They know they're going to make a loss. So they're like, well, we're going to make a loss. Let's put this movie out that's like pro whatever. John Lovelace in the house. New haircut 2 weeks ago. It's just because I haven't been on for a week, right? Because I had my operation. 2-week anniversary today with the surgery. Look at that. I still haven't got full range of motion, but it's incredible what these guys have done. Honesty and truth in the hazel. A plan to get races, religions, and genders fighting each other. Don't fall for it. When we are divided, we are weaker. Stand together. Most of us are peaceful citizens. For both the most beautiful and amazing honesty and truth and the most gorgeous John Lovelace in the house, you get a sparkly lion. I'm actually working on a sparkly lion emoji. Wonko, this is Schnizzle. I keep coming up with names for Wonko, this is Schnizzle. For the Wonko, the awesome. He has many names. He's a man of many names. A lot of parallels what Pete Hegzer spoke about the other day on a different topic. Yeah. Remove politics and other nonsense from the equation. There are standard stuff to be met, period. Thank you. Of course, another amazing post from Wonko the Same. Gabe in the house. Did you cut your neck shaving? Hope the family is doing well. Yes, we're all doing well. Thank you very much, Gabe. Please go over and support Gabe. He is actually doing this great company, Big Man Comics. Go over and follow him. This is what I'm saying. He's out there doing it. He's out creating an alternative. So a big shout out to Gabe. And Gabe will tell you, I practice what I preach. We both support each other. We both support each other. And there's a massive lack of it, right? He'll tell you. Gabe can tell you. Gabe said no when he was a very, very successful guy in the comic book industry. And morally, he couldn't take it anymore. And nobody stuck up for him. He'll tell you. There's loads of people that will not stand up. And yeah, I get people saying to me, this is the free market. Like, why should we back you? Don't. When I've been asking for people to click, these are people who already follow me on X. All I'm saying is follow me on YouTube. That's it. I'm illustrating the lack of engagement that people have. Honesty and Truth in the His Schnizzle, gifting 5 Matthew Miles on channel memberships. If you've got a membership from Honesty and Truth, you go over and you thank her right now. You go and do it. You go and do it right now. Sparkly line for you, Honesty and Truth. So, do you see what I'm saying? And it's very frustrating being the canary in the coal mine, trying to explain to people. It's very easy. I've said this before. Conservatives cancel. They boycott. They do not build. And the reason why a lot of people don't do it is because people just say, well, why should we? So turning around and saying, and here's the other thing. I get this. I get Angel Studios. I'm going to tell you something about the amount of money. I think it's like, I pulled this up earlier on. Let me see if I can bring it up now. Because I can tell you, I did this little bit of research. No, it's not there. It is on my X feed though. So let me just go over there. when you're talking about like crowdfunding as opposed to, hang on a minute. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, I made a comment somewhere. But here's the idea. Oh, okay, here we go. Think about this. I'm going to read this from my own X tweet. The major movie studios, Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, Paramount, Sony, right? So Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, Paramount, Sony, 5, spend $45 billion on film production. 45 billion, 45 billion on film production, while major streaming services, which are Netflix, Disney, Amazon, Max, Hulu, Paramount, Peacock, and Apple, are you ready for this? Spend 140 billion on content. Do you get what I'm saying right now? 140 billion. And our side goes, Angel Studios, right? Angel Studios operates on an estimated content production budget of 50 to 100 million. Now, they're a great start, right? They're in the fight, right? And they're making some stuff that is really good. I have a problem with them like doing a movie that has Mark Hamill in it, and someone goes, well, it was a Korean company and blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, so edit him out. I know the industry, please. But do you understand? Our biggest player in this space, who is doing a lot of good, is 100 million a year. The others combined are 140 billion. 5 studios and 8 streaming services. And you think that canceling Netflix is going to put a dent in anything? You are wrong. The content creators will go to one of the other studios that will give them the money. And by the way, it's making them fabulously wealthy. And it's cutting people like me out. So I'm never, like now I'm 52 years old, right? I can't greenlight movies now. What's going to happen for me to greenlight movies? The only way that I can get back to greenlight movies, if I have 1 million people following me. If I have 1 million people on my YouTube channel. Do you understand what I mean? And if you can tell me there's me, there's Nick Searcy, that's probably it. That are like actively going out and trying to say, hey, listen, we're trying to build something. Yes, Zachary Levy's doing it as well. He's doing his thing, which is great. But still, even if Zach came out and built a $100 million studio, we've got 2. Okay. Relative, that doesn't even come to a fraction of 1 of the other side. So that's what we're fighting against. And our side keeps doing this BS thing where they're like, well, the content that you make is, but I can't make the content unless I have money to make the content. And I keep telling you, the conservatives do not invest in it. And the stuff that they invest in, they always low budget you, always nickel and dime you. And then, by the way, I'll tell you this right now, is that do you know that there's a bias between the faiths? Like, I know I haven't got jobs because I'm Catholic. How stupid and myopic is that? Sorry, I need to go back. What's going on? What have I missed? What's up, Tom? No, Stephen, here's the thing. Let me tell you this. If you don't think it's a problem on our side, I want you to take your mind back 25 years. There was this guy, you might have heard of him. He's been in a couple of movies, really. I mean, he's, he did quite well in those movies and as a director. Mel Gibson wanted to raise money to make a movie about this guy. Don't know if you know him. Jesus. Nobody would fund him. So I don't want any of this BS, this complete abdication of supporting the culture by saying, well, if you did something and you were good enough and you did blah, 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 then you get the money. It's not true. Mel Gibson, who is one of the most talented people to ever be behind the camera, and by the way, be in front of the camera, the dude is amazing. I can tell you objectively because this is my area of expertise. He's a phenom actor and an even better director. Couldn't get the money. Now, are you telling me that Mel Gibson is not a worldwide name? Are you telling me that he doesn't have cachet as a director? How about Jesus? Do you think that that might be a good person to do a movie about? Because all I know is the left makes a movie about Harvey Milk, and Mel Gibson can't get money to make a movie about Jesus. Do you see what I'm saying? And I keep telling people, you have to understand that this is a warped way of looking at things from conservatives. Because the left will back their own. The left will do barriers to entry, so it pushes us out. So we can't affect change. It's a chicken and an egg. I went out and I made I Am That Man, right? I made I Am That Man. I didn't get support from conservatives in Hollywood, none. Well, I say none. I got my stunt guy and a few other people. But when I went to conservative actors, I couldn't get anybody on board. I couldn't get anyone standing up with me. Now, I'll tell you this. If I was going to go and make a trans rights movie, I would get everybody. I would get all these big actors to come in for nothing. And Mel, right now, is casting... The Resurrection. I've asked people that I know, that you know, to go and tell Mel, hey, listen, can you have a word with him? Because it would be the greatest honor of my life to be in a movie about Jesus Christ. And they won't do it. Now, are you telling me that I don't have credentials to do it? Are you telling me? I'm talking about getting through the door. Do you see how we have to change this? And if we don't change it, we are killing an entire generation that could be coming into the movie industry and making the next It's a Wonderful Life. The only way that I can do this, the only way, and I've spoken to Nick Searcy about this as well, and he's the same. The only way we can, people go, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to make content? I did it. I did what everyone talks about doing. I had one guy, honestly, I won't tell you what it is, but I was in a room, I was having dinner with a bunch of the biggest names that you know that are conservative. And I had one guy stand up and say, Matthew Marsden is the only one in this room that has done what we all talk about. And that is he's hired conservatives and he's made a movie and he did everything that we all talk about, but nobody's willing to do. And he was literally crying when he said it. Like, you might think this is ridiculous, but imagine going to work every day and being absolutely slandered and battered every day by the people that are around you. So all I'm saying is, help me help you, right? Because you guys just saw 3 weeks ago, Charlie Kirk was murdered in front of everybody. Did you see how people reacted? Do you understand the risks that we take if you are a conservative coming out and talking like this? Nobody gives a shit, honestly. Like, power, you guys do, but you know what I'm saying. I get it. Well, what are you sacrificing? I don't know, like the safety of myself and my family. I don't know. And then what happens one by one is people fall away. And then I get told all you do is complain. All you do is complain. All you do is cancel, dude. That's all you do. You're not. I have over and over. How many times, guys, you know this, how many times have I said to you guys that XYZ is going to happen? I've been talking about content on this channel and on X for, well, however long I've been on this channel, but on my X account for years. I know the process, guys. I was in Hollywood, and what they've done is they've systematically pushed people out that might stop the filth. Thank you, Nick. That's the difference. What it is when people say you're complaining, is they don't like it because it's a challenge to change the way they live their lives. I'm canceling Netflix. Do you watch Netflix? Not really, but I'm canceling it. Okay, well, if you had Netflix and you're paying $13.99 a month, would you like subscribe to my channel? No. It's free. No. What content are you giving me? I don't know what to say. Zephyr, it's true. The truth is misinterpreted as complaining. It's just the truth. Yeah, here's the thing, Crazy Cook. He said the left isn't happy unless they're pissing and moaning about something. I've got news for you, Crazy Cook. There's a lot on our side that are the same. There's a lot on our side. And all I'm saying is, let's build something. Let's create something. I maintained to you guys from the beginning, and it was always to make a point. I'm asking the people that follow me on X, to go and follow me on YouTube. I'm going to tell you something right now. Listen to this. I'm going to tell you this right now. Because if you don't understand it, you've got to realize that we are going to be, it's going to happen to every one of us. We've only got a bit of a reprieve right now because Trump's in. What do you think they're going to do? Okay, so I have had, so far, 5.7 views of my tweet on subbing to my channel. Right, 5,700. I have got 21 subs from that. Yeah, you get your sparkles, Jay. All right, think about that. 5,700 people saw that tweet and went, nah. Think about that. Oh, think about that. So what they'll do is people will go, oh, Netflix bad. I don't know. I've been telling you Netflix have been bad for 5 years, right? Oh, Elon says it. Cancel. So what do? They go onto Netflix. They go to the account thing. They say cancel it, right? That's way more steps than just pressing subscribe. And guess what? There is a net benefit because you save $13 or $16 a month. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just, we're very, very good at cancelling and not very good at supporting our own. And it's not going to change. And people don't care, but you got to understand this, is that I grew up loving America because of movies and television. There has been very little positive coming out of Hollywood for 15 years. And that is projected all over the world. Now, when I was doing Rambo and I was in Thailand, I looked down one day, literally, we were traveling to set one day, and I looked down and there was a picture of Stallone with the rocket launcher. Remember that famous picture from Rambo 2? He's got the rocket launcher. It used to be on for those of you that watch video games, remember that Rambo video game? It was fantastic. Run through the jungle and then get the prisoners of war free. And then at the end, you had to fight like the helicopter. It was awesome. But it was that picture. And I'm like, someone today, which is 30 years or 25 years after that movie came out, they're still inspired by Rambo. How many people now say, where do you think you are, Rambo? It's in the culture now. It's in the culture. So, how many negative things are being put into the culture? And Hollywood is, whether you like it or not, is still the best at making movies on the planet. They're the best. They make the best content. They make the best animation. I mean, although a lot of the SFX have gone down now, right? Because it's like just crappy. If you DEI people up to the top, you're going to get a bad product, right? But it's still better than even their bad stuff is better than the rest of the world. All right, Texas Lori D. Yeah, see, how dare you, Texas Lori D? You should boycott them. Of course, you go and get the money. I mean, like, whatever. Of course. Are you dancing today? Okay, so it's very difficult. I've tried to be inspiring. I've tried to say to people, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And let's build something. And conservatives just don't do it. We are a culture of boycotting. Let me give you an example. And I want you guys to really think about this, right? But the people that are tuning in right now, think about this. I said it the other day. What is Trump doing right now? What is he doing? What are the guys doing? What are ICE doing? If you look at every single thing that's got Pete Hegseth, what's Pete Hegseth doing? What's Tulsi Gabbard doing? They are uneffing the country. All right? So if you go back 5 years to the Trump presidency, let's say we were here, right? Which was, let's say the center is here. I'm trying to think for your side, it's opposite, right? So the center is here. We were here when Trump got in, right? To the left, center left. Obama had gone out and done so much damage, right? We were a center left country. Well, the government was center left. The country isn't. So like that, right? Trump gets in. They start getting more and more manic, more crazy. But because of all the infrastructure that Obama had done, right? It was all there for them to take advantage of, right? Summer of love, all that bullshit. Then Biden came in. And what did Biden do? This. I don't think people understand how far left the country, the government became under Joe Biden. So firstly, we let in at least 7 million. 7 million. It's like 7 million, at least 7 million. Some people say 20 million. 20 million illegals. Let's just give it 10. Right, let's be like generous. 10. How long is it going to take for Trump, if we look in, that is where the population should be, this is where it is now, how long is it going to take for him to get it to there? Even if for the next 2 years they deport 1 million people, which it's not happening, it's still 3 million people. We're still 7 million people in the country. All right? That's how bad it is to un-F the country just on immigration. Now, Hegseth is saying, Radical idea, right? All the standards are the same if you want to get into special forces. All the standards are the same. You've got to meet these standards. Radical idea. Okay, he's done that. How long is it going to take for us to replenish the people that are coming into the army that are competent? Because you've had 4 years, my son included, that wanted to join, and he was like, I'm not going in under Biden. I'm like, damn right you're not going in under Biden. So you've got a kid that is massively patriotic. He's 6'4". He's a straight A student. He was a expert swimmer. He's got all these attributes which would have made him, his leader would have made him a great candidate for the army. Nope, not doing it. And by the way, I'm not going to brag right now, but I'm going to tell you this. I had the president of a college call me up on my phone and say, what can we do to get your son to come to my college? So I'm just telling you, like, I'm not, sometimes, but I know his attributes. Okay? He's not in there. So how long is it going to take for us? Let's just say Biden came in, it started getting bad. You've got like 3 years of West Point graduates. How many, what percentage of them are woke? Right, we know that some of them are. And then they go into the military, and then you've got woke people in the how are you gonna get rid of that? Right? And how are you going to replenish that with patriots? Okay, the numbers have gone up, right? But it's still going to take time. So my point is this, is that the administration right now is un-effing the country to get it back to some kind of normalcy, to get it back to the Trump administration. Previous. You are talking, guys, a long time. And if you were to say to me right now, what is the vision for America? I could not articulate it other than saying it's un-effing it from the way that Biden took it. You can say, again, tariffs. What are the tariffs doing? Un-effing it, right? From the fact that we've been taken advantage of for so long. But what is the projection for where we're going? What is the projection of hope? And one of the ways that we projected hope historically is through film. Film, as you could say, either film mirrored society or society mirrored the film. Certainly politics. If you look at the golden era, if you look at like the 50s, this era of optimism and whatever, and then you look at the 60s, which was more hedonistic, they were like doing the, and you get rid of the Hayes Act, and then you start seeing all these like weird stuff, this weird like sexual immorality come out through it. And then the 70s, because guess what? It was really crappy under Carter. You started getting all these like dark, gritty, nihilistic stuff. And then the 80s come in, and guess what? Commando, Rambo, Rocky was all right, 78, 79, right? But it's the Rocky movies, the Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4. That isn't, I don't consider that to be a true Rocky movie, even though some people really love it. Those are through the 80s. Even the Clinton era was positive. Think about it. What do we have now? Nothing. There is literally nothing out there. We get one movie, which is Top Gun, which was amazing. I loved it. It's the only movie I've been to see twice, I think, at the theaters in 2 decades. Well, apart from Black Hawk Down, because I had to go with other people. But there's no projection of where we want to be, what country we want to be, what values we espouse. And the conservative stuff, quite frankly, is awful. And by the way, if you can look and say, well, what movies have you done? But Michael Caine said to me, you never set out to make a bad movie, but that was the first one that I did in Hollywood. Tell me, has there been a movie as good as that in the last 10 years? At least. No. And here's the other thing. I'm going to say something pretty controversial now. The people they got, that Trump got in, although I love the guys that they got Mel and John and Sly, and I know 2 of the 3 of those, they're never going to change things in Hollywood. Those guys have been superstars for 4 decades, right? To think that Mel Gibson or Sly or John understands what's really going on for us down at the bottom, like, you know, the lower level actors that have done stuff, which is, look, I'm not kidding myself right now. I mean, I've done major movies in the past, but I'm not in the game right now. I'm not a player in the game. That's just the truth. So to say that you understand what we're going through when all of those guys are still doing shows, I mean, every one of those guys has an Oscar. If you were to say, all right, well, I want you guys to put together like a task force to go in and make content, absolutely. But it's not happening. You need people like who have done stuff at the highest level, that really understands the system, like me, like Nick Searcy. We need to go in and change things. But again, I hate to tell you, Matt Marsden with 17,000 followers on YouTube is not changing, is not moving the needle as much as I want to, right? You got to understand it's about numbers. What is the Netflix thing? It's about numbers because Elon has 220 million people follow him. If there's a fraction of that, it does knock the bottom line for Netflix. But they know they've just got to wait it out, because we are a victim of the latest thing just as much as the left is. I'm sorry, we are. We know better. There's no vision for the future. And I'm sorry if it makes people feel uncomfortable, and they'll go, oh, well, you're an actor, what do you know? Blah, 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 blah. You know, we're real. I had someone say to me the other day, well, you don't know what we go through. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, like I said, here's the funny thing. This is the problem with our side, right? I put it there and I said, hey, imagine if every person that followed Elon Musk gave $1, then we could have a movie studio. And you know what someone put? Would we have a say? And I would just put, yeah, all 220 million of you can have a say. There's a major problem. And again, you guys might hate it for me saying this. The rugged individualistic attitude of the United States is bullshit. Being a rugged individual and being separated from society, being separated from your common man, to say, I'm all right, Jack, I don't need anybody else, isn't the way the founding fathers saw this. Clearly, the United States of America. Why not the rugged individual, everyone does their own thing, States of America? It doesn't work. It does not work. When you go into special forces, if you are for example, a Green Beret, many of my friends have gone through the Q course, or if you are a United Kingdom special operations guy, SAS, SBS, what do? They teach you to be able to operate on your own. They like people that can operate on their own. But they do not send them out on their own. They operate in 4-man bricks. 4 men. Why? One at the front, one at the back, two in the middle. One's looking for the six, one's looking forward. Does that make any sense to you? And yet what we have here is like, we're rugged individuals. I want people to stay out of my life. Well, they're not staying out of your life. And you on your own ain't going to do a thing. We are meant to be united moving forward. We'll be united in cancelling stuff and nobody sees the irony of that. You're not a rugged individual when it comes to that, are you? Or maybe you are. You're like, yes, I'm a rugged individual. I'm making the decision. But you making that decision doesn't mean squat because it's $13 or $16, whatever it is. What matters is 100 million of you saying no. And I've said this over and over and over again. This is the way, especially libertarians, excuse not doing anything. You can say, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm a libertarian. I don't believe what he believes. Okay, all right. Well, what's going to happen is the other side is going to get in, and then you're not going to have any. You can't reason to them and say, I'm an American. I've got my own. I'm a rugged individual. So they go, I don't give a shit. Here's the law. You break it, you're going to jail. And guess what? Who are you going to rely on then? You're a rugged individualist. Get yourself out of jail. It was never, ever intended to be like that. And we keep saying it like it was. And it's just not true. Wonko the same. Every one of those 220 million people would, in fact, have a say by supporting like-minded individuals who do things they can. They can't. That's all we need. Exactly. You're having a say by putting the money up. You're changing the dynamic. And again, it's $1. But again, the mentality of like, well, would we have a say? Yes, you, whoever you are, wherever you are in the middle of nowhere with no experience of anything, well, I'm going to call you in so you can give you notes on the film that I'm doing. Do you see how it's just crazy? You go and vote for somebody, right? You voted for Trump. Does he call you in all the time and ask your opinion on what he's doing in trade? Dude, we have to stick together. This is Humble Gun Caddy said, if we won't stand together, we'll fall together. Keep saying it. I keep saying it. Keep telling people that's why you guys are here, because you get it. But again, listen, when I stood up against COVID, I got absolutely blasted, right? I lost money. I lost a lot of money standing up for it. And people were like, well done. Good job, Matt. Like, that's amazing. You go, man. You stand up for it. I'm like, will you subscribe to my channel? Oh, hang on a minute. Why would I do it then? Why don't I just not tell anybody? Which, by the way, is you do that. There was no upside for me. No upside apart from doing the right thing and giving other people the opportunity to say, thank you, I'm behind you as well. I wanted to do it. My whole family's turned against me. Tell me what that is worth. But people memory hole it. Just memory hole it. People have memory hole Jimmy Kimmel. That was the big thing for 5 seconds, wasn't it? Oh, latest thing. Jimmy Kimmel. Brr. Then bring Jimmy Kimmel back and they go, okay, all right, well, whatever. It's just like, and the left knows. The left knows this is what we do. You got to understand it, right? The left knows that we will move on. Netflix just has, they can play the long game. They'll wait. This will go away. And in 2 months' time, I really want to watch that series, but do you know why? There's not another channel that has gone out and said, do you know what? I'm going to buy out. I said this before, and I've pitched this to billionaires, and they won't do it. Right? I'm like, Listen, I could go out and buy shows for pennies on the dollar to have on a platform that just gets all the woke nonsense out. By the way, it doesn't, I mean, it's not going to do, I wouldn't have anything like sexually explicit on it, right? But what I'm not going to cancel, like, I'm not going to stop you having bad language, else you wouldn't have any movie. Like, you wouldn't have Die Hard. And, you know, this is a movie that's 30 years old now. And we still love it. But, I mean, if you followed the rubric of what people are saying for our kinds of films, you wouldn't have Hacksaw Ridge, you wouldn't have The Passion, you wouldn't have Saving Private Ryan, you wouldn't have Black Hawk Down. Do I have a troll? So I'm going to look at this because I'm right in the mood for a troll right now. Lauren says 260 million adults live in the United States. It's more than that, darling. It's more than that, especially if you've imported at least 7 million, more likely 20 million in over the last 4 years. But only 77 million were voted for Trump. I don't think you understand the way that voting works, right? Because you have a bunch of people that are too young to vote. And unfortunately, historically, the fact is that not everyone votes. Now, and you said just 30%. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Can Trump deport the 70% of American adults who have never voted for a felon? What are you talking about? This is called a logical fallacy. You are making an argument that nobody's making. I have never seen anyone say we should deport American citizens. So what I want you to do is go and think logically about the argument that you are trying to make. I'm not even going to address the felon ridiculousness. Do you mean like the 32 counts that were drummed up for him? You mean that? You mean that? Okay. You do know that all the Russian collusion stuff was a lie, right? Because if you're going to go on about Trump being a felon, what about the fact that there are other people that just lied in court? You're okay with that. You think these people, that there's somehow a witch hunt when someone purges themselves in court. We don't play this game. What we don't do anymore is live by this kind of rule that you can say whatever you want and not apply the same moral standards to your side. So again, this is a nonsensical thing you said. I'll give you an opportunity to come back in the spirit of Charlie Kirk and make a coherent argument. So take a minute, go use Grok. It's great. You can have a coherent, because I know it's difficult in your brain, right? It's all like spaghetti in there. So why don't you go off, formulate an argument, and come back and I'll answer you. All right? And by the way, I can tell you that they changed the statute of limitations to go after Trump. I can tell you they went after things that they've never gone after anybody for in the past. If you're okay with that, please understand. I know you don't. That every 4 years you get to lose an election, and the stuff that you put into place, we can use. Now, conservatives want less government. We want less regulation. You're the ones that want more. So I'll give you another opportunity. Take a minute, put down your sippy cup, and come up with a coherent argument. Try and use a syllogy, try. I know you probably don't know what a syllogy is, or an enthymeme, or anything like that. I'll wait because I'm a patient person. It's okay. We can wait for the response. These people are so used to not have anyone push back on them. I'm not the person you should come to with that. So, I mean, I'm not even going to get into the first past the post argument. You know, I'm not even going to get into the system that we have here in the United States that every so often they want to tear up because it's inconvenient to them. You know, all the lies that they've said. They're doing it right now with the government shutdown, right? I mean, here's the thing. I don't know one conservative who isn't totally behind the government shutdown. I've been trying to tell them to shut the government down for years. Honesty and truth. While we're waiting for a very intelligent person to make a comment, normality needs to be reintroduced into society, morals, values, and peaceful religious teachings. No more fiffle with gender, skin, color, or line governments. Remember that Jesus died for us. Jesus died for all of us, whether or not you believe in him or not. Thank you, honesty and truth. Still waiting. You know, it's kind of funny. Even from here, I can hear like a rumbling and scratching. And that's their brain trying to figure something out. I mean, these are people that don't even know whether they're a man or a woman. So I don't really anticipate much of a comeback on that. I mean, even if she uses, or he or she, was it she? I don't know. You can't misgender them these days, is it? So I'll let them try and use Grok or ChatGPT. And they probably won't use Grok because, Elon bad. But I'll let them try and formulate some kind of an intelligent argument and come back to me and let's have a look at it. No, we can't bring Archer in because he'll jump up me. I can't have him on my neck, can I? You want me to die here? What's going on? It's kind of funny that I get this quite a bit. Like, people think that because you're an actor and you do a certain thing that you don't have any kind of other attributes that you can utilize. Like logic and reason and an intellect. Oh no, Zephyr, you know what he did to me last night? It was really funny because I've had to stay away from Archer. I came out, I sat in one of the chairs in the living room and he came up to me and he was like, he does this thing where he cries for me, which is like heartbreaking, but still waiting. Wow, we've been going for an hour and a half. So I'm going to give you a running update. All right, let me tell you. Hold on. So I've had, hang on, that's weird. This says 3.8 thousand. I know that can't be right. Let's say 3,500. I thought it was 5,000 before I read what I read. And I've had a grand total of, bear with me, 43 new subs. The point I keep making is, what if it was 3,000? What if when I had one the other day that 55,000 people saw it? Imagine if I had 55,000 new subs on YouTube. I would be able to, number one, go on different shows and go, people understand. Jay, I'll get a plushie for Archer. I just have to figure out where I'm sourcing it. So, imagine that, like, what a difference that would make if I could go and say that and say, look, this has grown. And again, I was having I'll give myself some sparkles. It's a beautiful thing. You know, it's funny. After this, I'm going to go. I'm going to take my painkillers and just like become like completely high on painkillers. But I wanted to be compass mentis to speak to you guys, and just in case, what happened to that person? What happened to that person? Again, the building of community is absolutely essential. It's absolutely sparkly line. All right, sparkly line. Oh, yeah. The building of community is absolutely essential. We have to do it. We have to build. We have to start showing people that we are more than just cancelling. Talking of which, right now, I'm going to say Crockett Coffee. I can't turn this is one thing I want to tell them. It's got a little bit of coffee on it there because I do actually drink from this cup. Crockett Coffee, amazing American product. It is owned by Clay Travis, Buck Sexton, and Mason Sexton. Those of you know, you've gone and bought it. It is excellent coffee. My preferred flavor is the dark roast, right? I haven't tried the mushroom yet, but it's the dark roast. What's great about this company is not only did they reach out to me and they're like, hey, listen, we want to support you, which is what people should be doing. This is what we should be doing, is supporting one another. And of course, they're in the media, so they understand, right? But they turned around and they said, we see that you drink a lot of coffee. So you're probably right for us. And in addition to that, number one, it is an absolute quality product, right? They use the best beans. It's roasted here in America by a father-son combo, but they also donate money to Tunnels to Towers, which is absolutely amazing. And if you go over to Crockett Coffee right now, there is a link out there. And let me see. I think I've got a Crockett Coffee banner. There you go. If you go over to Crockett Coffee and put Matthew 20, you get 20% off store-wide. Don't give your money to people that hate you. All right? Don't give money to people who hate you. Support this company. Build it up. You know, we'll have like Crockett Coffees on every street corner, and they won't be supporting causes that you hate. And you'll be getting good coffee as well, because let's face it, Starbucks coffee is crap. It really is crap. And everyone who knows coffee knows that Starbucks is crap. It tastes like, I'm not going to say it because I do have kids watching. So Crockett Coffee, Matthew 20, go support people that support you and support me. All right? Because you're going to get your coffee anyway. Are there any tea drinkers out there? Oh my gosh, Gator Fanatic just said, I can't believe I'm on your YouTube for 7 months already. Amazing. Amazing. And we're building it, right? Like it's getting there gradually. It's getting there gradually. And that's what I want. I would wish that more people would just make the statement so then I can go and say, look, people get it. Because you'll see how many people on the left just go out and support someone. And you have to understand, this is what I want to say to that guy before, when he was like, why should we just support you? Because it's asymmetrical warfare right now. The left goes out and supports the left. Doesn't matter. The right does not go out and support those on the right. And by support, it's a click. I'm not asking you to spend any money. I'd like to spend money, but I'm not asking you to spend any money. So again, what I'm not going to do is go and right now partner with somebody else, because then they can tell me what I have to say, and I don't want that. Right now, it's direct between me and you, and we have this little community that's going on, right? That we're getting to know one another, and we're uniting people in the UK, which are really going to need it. Really going to need it. And by the way, do not think that what happened over there cannot happen here, but they will use firearms to do it. It's going to happen. But by the way, I'm going to say this again for those of you that joined late. Did you know? I spoke to Trevor Coult about this yesterday. I said, there are 43,000 people in the UK on the terror watch list. So I'm going to do a little bit of math for you. If you have, which apparently on average it takes 12 people to monitor one person. Now, I don't know why that is, whether that's like a, swapping over, if you need someone to listen, someone visual. You know, there's often a big team when they're chasing someone, when they're watching someone. So 12 people for each one of the 43,000. That's around 500,000 people. So MI5 would have to hire 500,000 people just to watch all the people on the terror watch list. Okay? Now, if you do a 1 day on, 1 day off, which is rotation, that pushes that amount up to 1 million. So they don't hire 1 million people to watch people. They don't hire that many people. So you've got a bunch of people out there, a bunch of terrorists on the terror watch list that are just walking around. Those are the ones they know. So imagine tomorrow if, let's just say conservatively, 1,000 of these terrorists decide, you know what, I'm going to go and kill a bunch of people. You're going to stop them? How many Brits would die before the army would kill all these guys? How quickly would the army deploy? Trevor Court will tell you that army recruitment is at an all-time low. All right, let's just say 10,000 of them decide to go on stabbing sprees all over the country. What are you going to do? That is terrifying. They couldn't even deal with one properly yesterday. Imagine 10,000. Nay, imagine 20,000. What are you going to do? And by the way, how many people would be complicit? How many, if they brought in thousands and thousands and thousands from Syria and all these other countries, they'll join them. This is very, 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 very serious, like super, super serious. John Lovelace in the his schnizzle. One sub at a time, come join us. I love this channel. Matthew, a town in Minnesota, was taken over by Palestinians. Sparkly line for you. Listen, Minnesota is in so much trouble. I don't even know. I mean, we are in massive. We have a massive problem. So the UK is in more of a problem because it's smaller and they've got so many in there. But imagine that's 43,000. Apparently the guy that did the stabbing yesterday came over from Syria years and years and years and years ago. This is why when people talk about ICE and they're like, we shouldn't deport them. They've been here for 20 years. It doesn't matter. All right. If I was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, every one of those 40,000 people on the terrorist watch list would be gone. Now, I would mobilize the army because you can't do it just with police. You can't do that. And they would all be gone. If you have 43,000 radicals, you think they're not radicalizing more people? You think they're not going out there in the mosques and radicalizing them? You think they're not going out there and brutalizing other Muslims into silence? 43,000. That should terrify you. And that alone, I'm like, there's going to be mass killings in the United Kingdom. If you have 43,000 people on the terrorist watch list, like, there's nothing stopping them from getting together and causing chaos and murdering a lot of people. Now, you can stick your head in the sand all you want, but I want this not to happen. So if you imagine, let's just say 43,000 people, and they radicalize one person each. You got 86,000 people radicalized. What if they radicalize 5? It took 3% of the American population to fight off the British. Did you know that? 3%. You think the British police are going to help? Major problem. Major problem. Joan Lovelace in the house again. Yes, we do when we see other countries' problems, but need to look at ourselves. Spark the line for you. Listen, I've said this about Ukraine, Israel. We got to look after our own. We got to sort out what's going on here right now. That's not, I don't think we should be involved in Ukraine at all. As far as what's going on in Israel, the Israelis are doing just fine by themselves. My take on it is, while the Hamas still has hostages, what do you expect? What would you do? What would you do if someone had your daughter or your son or your mom or your aunt? I don't know what I'd do. So, and that's the other thing, by the way. JMC says DEI hires have destroyed the police. How many of the police would actually be on the side of the jihadists? That's just an absolute honest question. Because all I'm seeing right now is the radicalization of minorities in the UK by pushing grievance culture, how bad the UK is. It's not bad. It's one of the greatest countries on the planet. It's been one of the most benevolent countries on the planet. Tucker Carlson said this. Tucker Carlson said there's not been a more benevolent empire in the history of the world than the British Empire. And he's right. Do not be afraid of loving your country. So guys, on that note, I'm going to have to bid you adieu. I have to go. I'm actually going to something, believe it or not. My friend called me the other day and he was like, hey, listen, they're doing a Black Hawk Down thing. And I was like, what? He goes, do you want to come? I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. Like they don't realize that one of the actors from the movie is going to turn up. So I'm going to pop out and for half an hour to that. So meet some people, support our side. And again, guys, hit the notification button if you haven't. Like, subscribe. If you don't like and subscribe, I understand. That's absolutely your choice. I'm just trying to change things. That's all I'm trying to do. So I really appreciate you. Oh, here we go. Joan Lovelace again. Who sang what the world needs now is love, sweet love, I believe. That was Burt Bacharach, and I met him once. Actually, I was a guest on a television show in the UK, Good Morning Britain. You Brits know that. I was a guest on that, and I met him, and it's one of the most beautiful songs of all time, right? And this is what we need. We need to project a positive vision of America for the world, because there's a lot of people that feel like they don't have hope right now. And we need to bring hope back into the conversation. All right? Watch out for the merch store. If you want, I can put it up as it is right now. You saw I'm going to show you this again. Look at that. Look at that. That is cool. I'm sorry, that is cool. So I'm going to put those up. I'll put a bunch of stuff up there. And then you just tell me what you want and I'll put it together and we'll put it on the merch store. So I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. By the way, I didn't forget that I was going to do something on the moon. No, I was going to go to the moon and do something on the moon. I was going to do a show about the moon landings because it's very controversial. Like I said, I know someone who worked on them, so it's personal for me. But one of my other friends, Pat, is like, it never happened. So I'd like to just platform him to talk about that, and I'll see what I can get him. He's a very busy guy. So again, thank you so much. By the way, thank you for all your prayers. I know a lot of you have prayed for me for recovery with my neck, and I really appreciate that. Look at this. This is amazing. It is 2 weeks ago today, I was in my bedroom with the collar on, doped out of my head because I'd had major surgery. Now I'm here. Look at this. No collar, moving my neck around, very little pain. God is good. I am so fortunate. So again, I want to I know sometimes I can go on about bringing other people in. I want you to understand that I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your contributions to this channel and to each other. And I'm just living a life of great gratitude right now. All right, great gratitude. So thank you. I'll see you probably on Sunday, maybe before. Maybe before. Remember? Remember what? Not all actors like this, I promise. Bye-bye.